Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're here again, betting on ourselves for MAD Capital Investment Group. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for coming on and being a part of the show. It's 6 o'clock. This is the MAD Capital Investment Show. We're going to be talking real estate again. And the reason why I brought back a part two is because so many people have come to me and said, Cepeda, how can we talk about generational wealth and we don't even know how to invest? We don't know how to buy real estate. We don't even know where to start. So tonight, we're going to go into depth of what the millionaires do. I've been very successful over the past 25 years of buying and selling properties and being involved in the financial institutions and the financial space. So a lot of times, one of the things that we got to be not afraid of is failing. So a lot of times when we're trying to get involved in buying and selling properties or in betting on ourselves, we always say, hey, where do I start? And a lot of us are frozen. We're scared because we don't know where to start. We don't have the resources. Some of us have never been taught real estate. We've never been taught financial literacy. We've never been taught how to invest. Only thing we've been taught is how to spend. And that means that we're consumers and never do we become producers. So when you're talking about being a consumer, everything that's presented to you, just gobble it up. You just gobble it up. And that's what the poor people do. But a poor mindset. I wouldn't say poor people, but a poor mindset. But when you become a producer, you look for opportunities to where you can not just live paycheck to paycheck, but what you're looking for is opportunities to where you could turn your money. And so turning your money or turning your opportunities takes it off of, I got to win every single time. It takes you out of the survival mode and puts you into the investment mode. And so when you start talking about investing, and it's a whole different conversation. You start talking about credit. We start talking about return on your investment. We start talking about stocks, and we start talking about real estate, and we start talking about estate planning. We start talking about capital gains and tax brackets. So tonight, what I'm going to do is go into detail just in the surface about how you can become a financially literate person and become a real estate investor. I'm a national loan officer. I can close a loan in anywhere in the United States. And so I had to take a test to get licensed, and every state is recognized. I work for a national bank. And at the end, I'm going to give you some information if you would like to learn how to get involved. I just want to connect a couple of the dots. And so when you're talking with everything that's going on, they're talking about we're in a recession, interest rates are going up. Our pay is not going up, but the interest rates are going up. The cost of living is going up. I was driving by the gas station today and gas prices were $3.99. So I remember there was a time when gas prices was at $2. It was at $1.99. $2.50, $2.75. Now it's at $3.99. And I'm pretty sure it's going to go up and down, but who say it won't be at $4.50, $500? $4.55. So with that being said, where do I start to invest to keep up with the cost of living? Because the government has not helped us with the cost of living. They haven't given us raises, but eggs are higher. Milk is more expensive. Gas is more expensive. If gas is more expensive, it's going to take more to get it from the farm to the store. And that gas price is going to be passed on to you. Your kids going to school. All of those things are effective. So it's imperative that we start to understand financial literacy. It's imperative that we start to understand investments. It's imperative that we start to understand that we have to look out for what's best for us. And we have to look out where is my opportunities going to come? Because guess what? There's going to be jobs that's not going to be here in the United States. If you look at ESPN, all those guys that was on ESPN with Disney, we watch Disney shows, we're streaming, they're making money. But guess what? They have massive layoffs. Okay. If you see some of your media people, they're no longer there no more. Why? It's because businesses have understood that it's all about profit. So you have to understand that we're not living in a society to where you can be loyal to a company and that company is going to be loyal to you. You have to bet on yourself. I always say the cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose, the levee is giving way. It's up to you to save you. And so the number one thing that we're going to address is failure. So a lot of times people don't invest because they're scared. Failure is a part of life. You know, when you first were born, you were doomed to fail at one time or another. I don't know nobody who hasn't failed. Everybody fails at one point or another. The thing is when you fail, how do you respond and how do you get back up? So we're going to talk about some tools on how you can fall financially and get back up. I want to help you from being a consumer to a producer. Real estate is one of the tools that everybody has used that are millionaires. They use real estate as a tool to help them get out of their situation. I've used real estate. When your back is against the wall, you can always use real estate. Real estate for the longest has always went up. Now the stock market, a lot of people invest into the stock market, but that's a betting game. But when you have something that's tangible that you can grab a hold to, you can make sure that you're going to stay in the game. You know, so a lot of times when you are in a position to be successful financially, you have to take risks. That's business. Business 101 is risk. So what is the risk of you being able to be successful? So let's take away the guessing game. So the first thing I want people to understand that real estate is risky, right? I don't want you to think that it's not risky, but the chances of you losing in real estate is a lot less than if you invest in some of the other things. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in real estate is invest into real estate syndicates. And what a real estate syndicate is, you have a group of people that is investing into a commercial building. Okay, so when you invest into a real estate syndicate, you can invest into an investment group that is investing into commercial buildings. A lot of the times when you go to the major cities, you see the tall buildings, and we look at those buildings and we think that one person owns them. No, it might be one person's name on it, but most of those buildings are bought by a syndicate. And what that is that you have a group of about 10 or 15 investors that have assets that pool their money, $1 million a piece or $300,000 a piece. And they all pool their monies together, and they have one person, okay, that represents the group. And that group goes and buys that particular property. And then when they collect rent off of it, okay, then they pay the investors. Okay, they take their fee out of it and they pay the investors. This is a very lucrative way, a very systematic way, a very less risky way, because you have a group of people. The more people you have investing with you, the less riskier it is. So you be saying to yourself now, it's Cepeda, we're talking about real estate. Talk about something that I can do. If you have worked a job and you have a 401k, so you got to look at what you're doing with your 401k. Your 401k is make your money off of the stock market. And we know that the stock market has been very volatile for the past 2 to 3 years. It's went down. You know, that period that it went up, it was doing very well, but it goes up and down. Okay. But if you have a syndicate, you can take your 401k and you get with your CPA. I'm not a CPA. I don't think that it would be tax deductible. Find out what it is, what your tax bracket is, and take your 401k and you bet on yourself. Okay? You bet on yourself, and you find a syndicate that with your CPA, get an attorney, and you invest into that. Most of your companies that you have your 401k with, they match you dollar for dollar, right? I'm not saying take it all, but if you got $200,000 or $300,000 in your 401k, you already know that you're going to have to, the cost of living is going higher. So I'm telling you, giving you some tools on how you can better yourself while you still have the opportunity to work. Okay. You only can work for a certain period of time before your body start breaking down or your mind start breaking down. So one way that you can do it is invest into a syndicate. It's a very low risk. You have a group of people. They take your funds, they put it in the pool, they buy a piece of commercial real estate, and you get that income that's coming in every month. Now you might have to be taxed on it, but that money is unlimited. You know, you can keep reinvesting it, keep reinvesting it. And this is what you can do all the way until you grade to see your maker. Okay. So this is a good tool that a lot of millionaires or a lot of people who have wealth, they have done over the past. You got to learn how to work with a team. Okay. The second way that you can do it, if you want to be more hands-on, you can start multifamilies. Okay. You know, you can start with multifamilies or double. So how does that work? The lending industries, you can call me and I can give you more detail, but you go out and find a piece of property. It has two sides to it, and most of the time it has a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. So you rent out one for $500 and you rent out another one for $500. That's $1,000 that you got. If you can come to me, get a loan against that piece of property, it's $650. So you charge $1,000, so you make $300, $350, $250 a month extra passive income. Now the downside about that, I'm gonna tell you what the downside is, and I'm gonna tell you what the good side is. The downside is that you got tenants, and when the tenants move out, they normally leave it in worse condition that you gave it to them. So what happens is you got to go back and rehab it. So the 350, you multiply that by 12, you have about $8,000 somewhere around in there. So about $4,000. You might have to take 2,500 and reinvest back into the property to keep the profit coming. So, and then if you have any problems with the property, guess what? You got to go in and fix it depending on how you do your lease agreement. I would say find an attorney to make it ironclad for you, and sometimes you got to evict people. But for the most part, it's a very profitable passive income business. As the people make payments onto the apartment or to your house, guess what happens? You're getting closer and closer to owning it free and clear. So if they stay there 1 year, you got a 30-year mortgage, guess what? You only got 29 more years. So if you're 45, by the time you're 75, you own it free and clear, and it's all income. This is a good way. If you have a 401k, or if you have $5 to $10, $15, $20,000, or take your taxes, give me a call. We have some doubles here for you. We can get you into a property that it can get you into some passive income, multifamily or doubles. Multifamily is 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Doubles, you have 2 sides. Okay, so I want to be very clear. How can you generate that type of income? Last week we talked about what type of credit you got to have. Okay, the banks want to lend you money to invest into you. They're telling you, bet on yourself and we will back you. Okay, this is what the wealthy are doing. They're betting on themselves. There's no magic to it. Okay, they're willing to take a risk today to receive the rewards tomorrow. Okay, that's all they're doing. I want to take the guesswork out of it. I was talking to an individual. He had a 740 credit score. I got him set up with a line of credit, but he was so scared. Okay, the line of credit, the banks are offering lines of credit to where they're offering you $50,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, no documents. You don't have to show income. They are wanting you to bet on yourself. This is how they're stimulating the economy. This is how people are getting wealthy. Okay. The middle class is starting to separate. And the reason why it's starting to separate is not because they're smarter, is not because they have better opportunities. It's one and one reason only: fear. The middle class is going to be separated because of fear. Those who fear are going to stay lower in the lower class. They're going to be consumers. They're going to always rent. They're never going to own. They're going to always work for somebody else. They're going to always keep a 9 to 5. And when those jobs leave, they're going to start all over again. They're always going to be in that rat race. Those who become producers, they don't mind working for somebody else, but they also going to have that passive income on the side. Okay. They're also going to have, it's okay to work for somebody else because the 401k that they're matching you dollar for dollar, that's a good investment. But guess what? What are you doing with it? When you see your 401k go plummet, the question is who's losing you money? Okay. If I was going to McDonald's and they just offered me, I ordered a Big Mac and I only have bread, but they advertise meat and lettuce and the mayo and all that stuff, and I only got bread, then there's a problem. Well, guess what happens? When you have a 401k and it starts to dip, you need to be asking questions. You need to learn how to bet on yourself, get into the game, and get into the financial world so that you can learn how to maintain. And as the cost of living goes up, your knowledge level has to go up with it. So we already know the government is not going to match it. Okay, gas prices are going to keep going up. We living in an information society now, so we have to start betting on ourselves. The cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. Okay, so I want you guys to understand that you must begin to understand that we must begin to bet on ourselves. Nothing's going to be given to us. So the first thing that we talked about is, I want to send that ticker back down here. Invest into real estate centers. That means the commercial buildings that you see in big cities. There's about 15 to 20 people that pool their resources together. And guess what? They bought a building and somebody's getting a check from it every single month when you make that payment. Second, invest in the multifamilies and doubles. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, if that's too big for you, guess what? You can invest in the multifamilies and doubles. That's something that's tangible. The third thing, okay? Now, these are catchy terms, okay? I want you to understand that only because you've never heard of them before, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be investing in it. So you should invest into REITs. Okay, it's called REITs, real estate investment trust companies, where you buy a share in a company. So what happens is, I bought this particular piece of land, I built a commercial building on it, and I need to reinvest. So guess what happens? I will reach out to you, you bring it in. If you buying and selling properties, this is a good way for you to get that passive income. I teach this in my class. When you become an investor, if you thought about buying and selling properties and you get those big checks, guess what you need to be doing? A part of that need to be going into buying a commercial real estate. When you talk about buying commercial real estate, we often think that we got to go in and buy it ourselves. No, you can get a group of people that can go in with you, okay? And you guys can purchase that particular property, set up a trust, an attorney, a good real estate attorney. They'll show you how to do it. Invest into REITs. When people say REITs, that's what it is. Real estate investment trust companies. We talk about having, when you listen to some of these motivational speakers, they say you want to have multiple sources of income, right? I just gave you 3: buying a double, buying into REITs, buying into a syndicate. Okay. These are all real estate transactions that you can do, and you don't have to be a millionaire to do it. You can start right where you're at. Okay. You just got to get started. Today, like I said, I'm giving you some tools that you can use tonight. Start doing it tonight. The cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to you to save you. The next one is we're going to talk about is to BRR. You know, a lot of times most people don't understand these terminologies. I'm telling you what they are. Invest into buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Invest in the BRR. These type of properties are in dilapidated areas. If you're in the hood, or if you're in an area that is low income, those are that's where the money is. Okay, this is where your opportunities are. If you stand in an area that have houses that are boarded up, guess what? Those are your investment opportunities. You need to get with a mortgage broker or a real estate agent. Give us a call. We can help you. We can tell you how to purchase it, how to get it. It's called BRRR. Buy, you go into it, rehab it, rent it out, refinance it. Call me up. I can refinance it. And then you repeat the process again. This is how you build generational wealth. It's like walking, right? Once you put one foot in front of the other, it becomes a lot more easier the next time you do it. And next thing you know, one foot in front of the other, now you're in a different income bracket. Now you're in a different tax bracket. Now you're investing into commercial real estate with a couple of partners. You're investing into some REITs, okay? You got a couple of doubles. Now you're buying, rehabbing, rent, refinancing, repeating the same process over. Everybody is different. Okay. You don't have to do it like everybody else. Last week, I had Frank on the line. He said, hey, we got properties. We got everything that you need. If you need assets, we can help you. Also, we talked about credit. If you need your credit improved, what type of score do you got to have to get involved into these type of products? Most of us don't understand what our credit is. We got to tell you what your credit is. You got to get a tri-merge. What is a tri-merge? It's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. All three of those credit reporting agencies pull data, right? And it reports to the credit reporting agency. And they'll take the middle of the three. Okay, they'll throw out the top one, they'll throw out the bottom one, they'll keep you in the middle. You can buy your first real estate with a 580 credit score. 640 credit score, you're normally going to get a better interest rate. You're going to get better products, right? The higher your score, once you get up to a 680, 690, 700s, you know, it's pretty much bragging. But you got to get to a 640 score so you can buy those. You can buy those properties at a price and loan to value. What loan to value is if you got $100,000 house and you're trying to buy an investment property, depending on your credit score, they all lend up to 70 to 75%. Some banks will do 80, but it's very few far in between. They might be, you know, they do different promotions. And you might be able to get an 80%, very few and far in between, but on an average is 70%. So how do you come up with that 30%? Once again, networking with different people, using your 401k. That's an asset. And you might be saying to yourself, Cepeda, you keep saying using 401k. Well, I want you to use the thing that you have access to that's yours, that if your 401k is not growing by 5, 10, 15%, you can bet on yourself, grab a hold to your investment and invest into you. You are your best investment. Okay. I'll say it again. You are your best investment. And I know a lot of people out here that are talking, you know, no doc loans and how you can go into the bank and get these type of things, get those type of products. We're going to have some bankers on here on the show, and they're going to tell you, you got to qualify. Yes, they're doing a lot of different products, but you got to qualify. You have to set up your company the right way. I was talking to an individual a couple of days ago. I showed him how to go about into the bank, and he told some of his buddies, and They got turned down. Why? Because they didn't set their company up properly. Okay. The banks will lend you money when you set up your company properly. Don't be getting on the internet and looking at the internet, and then they're telling you can walk into the bank with a 650 credit score and get $50,000 or $100,000. Yes, you can, but your company got to be set up properly. Once you get the money, this is what you do with it. You buy into real estate. You diversify. You might want to take 10, 20, maybe 30 grand and put it with a group that you're going to get residual income. Then you want to take another 10 to rehab a property. Then you want to take another 10, and that's all the money that you got. Now you want to invest into a commercial deal, okay, or something of that nature, to where you can have residual income. So how do you manage that? How do you do that? Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to talk to somebody. What's going to be the return on your investment, and what is your monthly payment? If you got a monthly payment of, just say, $750 on a $50,000 loan that is a line of credit, guess what? You need to have that residual income. That $10,000 that you invested, you got to have that $750 come back off of that. There's different type of things that you got to do, but this is how you do it. Okay, I'm giving you step by step how you do it. Like I said, invest into a coach. Okay, I cannot stress how important it is for you to have a coach or a mentor that you're going to work with to get you through the process. I often think of Michael Jordan. I use him because a lot of people know who he is. Okay, Michael Jordan and LeBron James is arguably the two best players in the world. Okay, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It doesn't matter if you're in a professional sports, you're at the height of where you're at, right? Michael Jordan coach was Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson couldn't hold a candlestick to Michael Jordan, but he was the one who told him when to go into the game. He drew up the plays, and he listened to Mike to say, hey, what is really going on out there? And he listened. And then he gave information to Mike that Mike had to carry out on the basketball court. Well, guess what? The same principle applies to you financially. You might have all the tools and better and all those things, and I'm not saying that you don't, but you need a coach that can see things that you don't see. And you need a mentor, okay, that will be able to give you sound advice, not based upon what you have or what you don't have, based upon what your vision is and where you're going, okay? You need that coach if you're going to go into the next level financially. A lot of times we think that we know it all, and we go in and we bump our heads. When you're in the financial world, okay, every time you bump your head, that's costing your pocket. Every time you have to learn something, it's costing you. Okay. I often teach in my class, it's called opportunity cost. What is up in Econ 101? They teach you opportunity cost. What could you be doing with your investment now compared to what you could be doing later? Okay. So if I chose to go to a basketball game, I got to pay for a ticket. I pay for, basketball game costs about $25 a ticket. I'm going to buy a Coke. So that's about $5. So that's $25 I didn't spend, right? I'm going to be there for about, if the game starts at 7, I probably won't walk out until 10, right? So that's 3 hours that I'm going to spend there. So opportunity cost says, what could I have been doing? Something else. So I could have also said, hey, I need to work. I need to make cash. So at 7:00, instead of paying $25 for a ticket and, for a Coke, and that's one thing. So guess what? I generated $100. So it actually cost me $70 to go to that game. even though I only paid $30 for 3 hours, but it cost me $30 to go to the 70. I lost $70 to go to the game plus 3 hours. So if I made $100 in 1 hour, so for the next 3 hours, I would have made $300. So it actually cost me $270 to go to that particular game. That's the way rich people think. What is my opportunity cost? Some people need to go to the game so that they can renew their mind, stir up their thinking, and then come back and be motivated to do more work. But you got to have that balance. Okay. So rich people, people of wealth, understand that everything that they're doing has to be evaluated. Okay. That's where the coach and the mentor come into play. That coach will tell you, hey, slow down, Cepeda. You don't need to go on vacation right now. You need to get back to work. You've been playing around too much. You haven't showed enough income. Guess what? That's what a coach does. A mentor says, I look up to you and I don't care about, you might not feel like hearing this, Cepeda, but you know what? You've messed up so much until you really just need to slow down, get yourself together. And guess what? You need to be making income. So this is one-on-one what I did. About 7 months ago, I met with my mentor, my accountant. He said, hey, Cepeda, how's your business going? I said, hey, it was not going too well because I'm not generating any income. Then I talked to my vice president of marketing. She said, hey, we got so much going on. We are all over the place. We need to shut down for about 6 months. And I said, no, that's why you didn't see me on Facebook Live. So I was like, no. So we shut down. I listened to the powers that be. And guess what? We came back more powerful, more ready to service you. We have 3 different services, 3 different products on Facebook Live. We're going to have a Monday that's going to be dealing with credit and real estate. We're going to have one that's dealing with businesses in our community on our show. And then we're going to talk about this when we're talking about betting on yourself. That was derived from 6 months of being in the business, okay? Being out of the business. Then we said, hey, we're going to have classes on Thursdays. Every Thursday, then we're going to have network night once a month. So all of those things I had to do to get to a better situation. You have to have a coach. You have to have a mentor if you're going to scale up your company. How does that deal with real estate? When you have a coach that's in real estate, they're going to tell you where to buy, how to buy, what is the profit margin, is this a good investment, yay or nay, okay? They're going to stop you from bumping your head. If you got a mentor, they're going to help you not to be impulsive. Okay. A coach is going to tell you where to buy, when to buy. A mentor is going to teach you not to be impulsive. Don't fall in love with the deal. Fall in love with the art of growing your business. Okay. All of these things you're going to be able to do once you understand that I need to create generational wealth. I need to be involved in real estate. I need to be making sure that my credit is in a position and my business credit is in a position to where I can receive a benefit from what I'm doing. Everything that you're doing has causes and effect. What goes up must come down. Okay? What you do today, you're planting seeds for tomorrow. Okay? So if you're choosing to get out of the rat race, you're not going to do it overnight. Okay? You're not going to do it overnight. You're going to have to take your time, invest into yourself. I say start with your credit. Understand what your credit score is. Get with a coach. Call me up. I can set you up. Get your credit straight. When you're getting your credit straight, find the property. When you're finding a property, you can rehab it. Use the BRR process, okay? If you're working a job, you've been there 15 to 20 years, you need to call tomorrow, find out how much you have in your 401k, and take a portion of that and invest it into you. Find some ways on how you can invest it, okay? Buy some real estate. Invest in the buying and selling of properties. If you stand in an area that have a lot of boarded up homes, a lot of people are looking for those type of properties to purchase themselves. Guess what? You're sitting on a gold mine. You almost have gold sitting all around you and you don't even realize that it has value. Okay. People coming into your community and buying up everything. There's a reason why they come into your community and they buy up everything. They are called investors. When they're buying those properties, they want to get a profit. Okay. So guess what? You have to get in the game economically. So let's go back over this again. I'm going to put our number down here so you can see it. Give us a call, okay? If I don't answer, somebody will get right back with you so that you can start investing and betting on yourself. There's all different type of things that you got to do, credit-wise, business credit-wise. You need to learn how to get lines of credit from the banks so that you don't have to use your own money. Don't be sabotaged by these guys on the internet and saying, hey, you can get it with no money down and all these other things. You have to qualify and you have to set up your business the right way so that you can be able to do what you want to do. So the first thing I would say is invest into a real estate syndicate. All these are not guarantees, but these are just some tools. Research it. Find out what a syndicate is, real estate syndicate. I never heard of that before, Cepeda. Google it, okay? Find out what it is, real estate syndicates. Invest in the multifamily or doubles, okay? Learn what that is. What area should you buy? Get a coach. Call me up. I can coach you or I can be a mentor. Let me know, hey, I want to get involved in it. I don't know where to start. I want to start here. I can help you out, okay? Invest into REITs, real estate investment trust companies. Buy a share in a company so you can get that residual income. You're like, hey, Cepeda, it's kind of risky. I've been working for 25 years, and guess what? I don't want to be without any income. This is a little strange for me. So this is what you can do. You can invest into a REITs where you can get that little bit of income to where you don't have that that strain of having to wait on your next deal, okay? If you got 15 to 20, 30, $40,000, invest into some commercial real estate, call a realtor, they can help you out, okay? That's one of the things that realtors are very good at that they don't do, okay? Find out what realtors are investing into REITs, investments, find out what they are, okay? BRRs. That's you throwing a softball and hitting a boarded up home in your neighborhood. Find out who owns it. Okay. Find out who owns it, how much it costs. It might be in a trust. And you might know the individual that passed away in the neighborhood. Kids don't want it. Those are opportunities that you can take advantage of. Okay. It's called BRRR. Buy, rehab it, then you can rent it out. Okay. Or you can turn around, refinance it, you get your money back. Okay. They'll give you up to 75% of the appraised value. Okay. Then you repeat that process again. Now you got some cash that you can reinvest. We already know that if you get with a CPA, you might not have to pay capital gains tax on it. You might, as long as you reinvest it, start your own company. Guess what? We got some bankers that we're going to be bringing onto the show. When you put it in that bank account, that's income. The banks will give you lines of credit off of that. So there's a whole new way of doing business that we've never done before. And what I'm doing is just giving you the tools to get started, right? Give me a call if you're ready to build generational wealth. This is the place to where you can learn how to buy real estate, fix up real estate, get a loan on real estate, get a mortgage. All of that I can help you with, right? All you got to do is be willing to learn the process, okay? Invest into a coach, okay? Get a coach or mentor, somebody that's knowledgeable in the business, somebody who's done it. So let me talk about this for a second. When you're talking about hiring a coach, make sure that they're at the level that you're at. Some people don't want somebody calling them every day. Some people want to be hands on. I'm working with the individual right now, and she says, Cepeda, I want you to be hands on with me. I want you to be patient. I want to start my company. I want you to help me. And guess what? It's a challenge. You want to know why? Because you got two individuals that is going in two different directions, but we have to get on the same page. Okay. When you got a coach, that coach will put you on that page because they're credible. They've been there, they've done that. And so that coach, every coach is not for everybody. Okay. Every coach is not for everybody. You have to find a coach that mentors you, that fits your personality, fits your style. Some people don't need a coach that's always going to be patting them on the back. Some people get motivated when somebody's kicking them in the butt. Okay. Some people get motivated when you'll crush them if you give them some bad news or if you're hard. So find out what your style of learning is and move accordingly. Okay. You gotta have a coach and a mentor. Okay. A mentor is different than a coach, but you gotta have one or both. I would suggest both if you can afford it. Okay. So let me give you some statistics before we go into questions and answers. Okay. 70% of your net worth is created by real estate, and that's by Forbes. So if you got an individual that owns a home, $100,000 home, and they started at General Motors 15, 20, 30 years ago, right? Two individuals started the exact same day. One always rented and one bought a home. 30 years later, they still work, still got the raises, still got everything. They still had to keep a roof over their head, right? One owns a house that is worth 175, maybe 200 grand, and the other one has zero, just a 401k. They both got their 401k. They both got their raises. One owns a home of 200 and some grand. The other one still renting. Guess what happens? Guess what happens? The guy who has the 401k and the house that he owns free and clear, now he can go get a line of credit against his home that for the next 30 years he can pay it. The guy who rented all that time, he has nothing to show for it. Well, guess what happened? The reality of it is we just came out of COVID. If something tragic happens to you, the person that owned the house, they can leave it to their children. The person who rented all their life, guess what? Their children have to do a GoFundMe in order to help them get buried, or use their 401k to help with the burial expenses. Okay. This is the difference between wealthy people and the people who live in poverty. It's the same thing. It's just the wealthy people they chose to take the risk to bet on themselves. You need to bet on yourself. You have to create that opportunity for you and your family. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your family. If you don't want to do it for yourself, I'll say it again. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your children. And if you don't want to do it for your children, because some millionaires say, I'm not leaving nothing to my kids. Well, guess what? Do it for your grandkids. Okay? If you want to make something halfway decent for your family, try real estate. Real estate is a great tool that you can use to create generational wealth for you. If you want to learn how to create that, give me a call. I can help you. Okay. I have a great team here. I have some bankers that I network with. I have, Frank was on the show last week. He's very knowledgeable. We have a great company, a bank that supports us, that is interested in making sure that you create generational wealth for yourself. Okay. 90% of all millionaires get or maintain their wealth through real estate. Andrew Carnegie said this: 90% of all millionaires maintain or create wealth through real estate. if I'm sitting right here giving you the tools that the rich use, then we got to do what they do. The definition of insanity is expecting a different result and doing the exact same thing. That's the definition of insanity. If you want a different result, yes, you got to change the way you think. Yes, you got to bet on yourself. Yes, you got to become more knowledgeable. But the most thing that you have to do, you have to get in the game. You have to take action. This is what people are not telling you. You have to take action. What should you do? Find out what your credit score is. Look at your 401k. If you got a job, you've been there over 3 or 4 years, find out what that is. Get with a coach. Get in the game and start buying real estate. It's more risky for you to sit around and do nothing than for you to take a chance on yourself. I'll say it again. It's more risky for you to do nothing than for you to take a chance on yourself. When you start to bet on yourself, opportunities is going to happen. And we just want to be a tool to where you can call us and we can help you bet on yourself. I had some calls right here. People are asking, what type of credit score do you got to have to buy commercial real estate? Good question. It all depends on the deal. Okay. Every deal is different. I've seen people with poor credit that have bought real estate because they knew how to structure the deal. What does that mean? They knew somebody that had cash and they went out and found a deal, and the person that had cash wanted to invest and make passive income. And so what they did is use the person who had cash, brought the deal to the table, and they brought the real estate to the table. The person with the cash bought it, and then they shared in the profit. Okay. You can do the exact same thing while you're working on your credit. You don't have to have everything in place. The key is to get started, become active. Then you can feel everything else works itself out. Okay. But if you're trying to do a deal yourself, if you see a piece of real estate, if you're looking at an investment property, they want you to be at about 600. Okay. 640. If you're going to get involved in real estate, some lenders require a little bit more, some require less. They want you to have 2 years of employment. You got to set up a company. There's hard money lenders out there. So that's a whole nother world that you're living in. That's why you need a coach or a mortgage broker like myself that to kind of walk you through the process, okay? So that you might have a hard money lender and they are a little bit less stringent than the banks are, okay? And they will lend you up the money, but the interest rate is a little bit higher, and they require 6 months for you to pay them back, okay? You might have to make interest-only payments. Interest rate could be a little bit higher. So you might have to make those monthly payments while you're working on the property. That's called the BRR program. Buy, rent, rehab, redo, repeat yourself, okay? It's just a matter of getting out here, getting networked. There's all type of networks that you can get a part of. If you want to be a part of what we're doing here at MA&D Capital, that's one. There's all type of network groups on Facebook, Instagram. There's network groups, real estate agents, network groups in different areas, hard money lending network groups. Get involved. This is how you get out of the rat race, okay? So tonight, I wanted to talk to you about how to get into real estate. What are some of the things that you can do to get involved in real estate? And what are some of the opportunities that you can do to make that passive income if you have a 401k? Okay. These are the tools that you can use. Now, I just skimmed the surface of it. Okay. So don't go out and pull all your money out of your 401k tomorrow with no plan. Get with a CPA. Get with me, a mortgage broker. Get with a real estate agent. Get with an attorney before you make these moves, and get a coach or a mentor. Pay it. I don't know what other people charge, but find out what they're charging. Call me up. We can get you set up. Okay. When you start to make a plan, that's right. Kim said, when should you plan? When you make a plan. Well, you should plan immediately. Okay. All these decisions are risky decisions, but it's more risky for you not to do nothing. So you have to plan it out. Get your coach, be vulnerable to them. Okay. Don't go in there saying, hey, I got all the answers. Go in there open minded. I don't know. Allow them to kind of coach you through the process. I use Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the one who's going to take the shot, right? He knows how tired he is. He knows what it takes. But guess what? That coach knows what side of town or what side of what place on the floor that you need to be to get the best opportunity, because they've watched the game sitting down and they have a wealth of information. Most coaches have done it before. Okay. And, find out, do some research on them. How long have they been doing it? How many deals have they closed? Just a general tool. You have a lot of people out here that's on Facebook. Well, ask them, show me a couple of deals that you have done. Show me a HUD statement. A HUD statement is a real estate transaction and it has your business name on there, what happened on that particular real estate deal. Find out. If they can't produce it, find out. When you're talking about investing into a coach, the better the coach, the more expensive they probably are, because you're paying for that knowledge. Okay. So don't be afraid if they say, hey, this is what my price is. You're going to pay for it because you're getting that knowledge. But make sure that you are getting a coach that fits your lifestyle, that fits your way of learning, because that is going to help you become successful. Okay. So let me just recap some of the things that, how you can get that income down there. Is the first thing you can do, invest into a real estate syndicate. Two, thus in the multifamilies and doubles. That's what everybody is doing. That's the best thing going right now. Invest into REITs, trust companies, buy a share in the company. If you got a 401k, $30, $40, $50,000, talk to your CPA about it. Talk to a real estate attorney about it. Get with a mortgage company. A lot of realtors that are very knowledgeable, they can help you. Somebody that's been in the business. A lot of the realtors are just now getting into business because the stock market was poor and the rates were real low, and a lot of people became realtors and mortgage brokers because of that. Make sure that they know what they're talking about when you're talking about a trust company, an investment company, all those type of things. Make sure that they know what they're talking about. There's a lot of people out here that gives a lot of information, but when you look at their background, they just haven't done it and they don't know. They just read it on somebody else. It's Facebook, and they're experimenting with 5 or 6 different people. So make sure that they know and they have a track record of doing it. Okay. Invest into BRR, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. The catch is, when you're doing this, be leery of contractors that can take your money and not get the job done. Make sure that you got a licensed professional contractor that he can show you, or she can show you some work that they have done. Rule of thumb, when you're involved in this type of buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, make sure that the person who's doing the work is the person who's doing the work, especially if you're just getting started. Make sure you can give me a call. I can help you walk through that process, okay? But make sure that when you're doing the BRRs, make sure that the person who's changing the light bulb is the person who you're paying, okay? If the person who you're not paying is not changing that light bulb, if they make a mistake, it's very hard that once you've paid them, that they can gonna come back and do it. They'll put a lien against your property if you don't pay them. So that's a whole nother expense. This is what you got to be careful of when you're doing the BRRs, buy, rehab, refinance, rent. Make sure that you got a good licensed contractor that's very efficient and very timely. Okay. Because you're going to you're going to need to be timely when you're doing that type of business. Okay. The fourth one, invest into a coach, invest into a mentor. Give us a call. We can help you here. We're going to be starting to start our classes back. You can give us a call here at MA&D Capital Investment Group, 317-847-2810. If you need to work on your credit, give us a call. If you're in the market of buying a house, give us a call. You want to learn how to buy and sell real estate. You don't know where to start at. You want to start up business credit, give us a call. We have banks that is on board that's willing to help you. I work at a national bank. If you are serious about getting out of the rat race, creating generational wealth, give us a call. Share this with many people as possible. You can also find us on YouTube, LinkedIn. Just type in my name, subscribe, like, share it, create a group of people that is going to talk about finances instead of what the latest thing is, because we're living in a day and time where people need financial help. Okay. This is the tool that you can use every Wednesday. I'm going to be here educating you, inspiring you to bet on yourself. I chose to talk about real estate the past 2 weeks because there was such a demand for people that need help financially, teaching them how to bet on themselves. So starting next week, getting back to how do you motivate yourself to get up in the morning? Okay. What do you need to do to get up in the morning? That's what we're going to talk about next week. How do you get up in the morning when everything else around you has crumbled? How do you do it? What should you do? Who should you go around? What type of tools should you use? I got a great speaker that's going to be here next week. They come from the bottom, started at the bottom, didn't know, have a clue of what they was going to do, and now they're at the top of their game. This is going to be an inspiration for everybody. If you are looking to find out how do you get out of the rat race, how do you motivate yourself, how do you get up every single day when everything is so negative around you, when people are criticizing you, when everybody is doubting you, when your back is against the wall, how do you get up? How do you get up? You might have had some losses. You might have fell off. You might even had good intentions and still failed. How do you get back up after you failed so many times? Next week, we're going to talk about how do you bet on yourself? How did this company bet on themselves and became one of the top companies right here in Indianapolis when everything was against them? How do you do it? Till next week, I always say, bet on yourself. The cavalry is not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to you, the person in the mirror. You, look at yourself. You are the one who's in control of your own destiny. The cavalry's not coming, ladies and gentlemen. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to you to save you. And depending on what decisions you make today will determine what success you have for tomorrow. Till next week, keep betting on yourself. There's no other person worth it. Thank you. Bye-bye.